If you haven't seen the previous video in this series, follow the link on your screen or click the link in the description or pinned comment below.
These assholes are still sending Harry back to live with abusive people during the summer?
Because of this witch. Not really witch, muggle, but you know what I mean. Petunia was Harry's only living blood relative, and Lily's sacrifice affords Harry protection against Voldemort as long as he was accepted into a blood relative's home.
How the f*** is Harry doing this? He didn't pull out a wand, he didn't utter any spell names, so why does he have to use that shit ever if he can silently will a person he doesn't like to bloat up and float away?
Wands simply allow a magical person to channel their innate magical ability. Literally in the first movie, Hagrid asked Harry had he ever caused supernatural events to happen without realizing it, and you should know that because you've already seen that movie. Also, incantations aren't exactly necessary to cast spells and curses in the Harry Potter universe. Wandless and silent magic has been a thing in all the books and films. I mean, they literally teach nonverbal spells in the 6th year at Hogwarts.
It's pretty damn convenient that the magic bus shows up literally just as Harry's about to have a confrontation with the dog. Or inconvenient because that was his godfather who loves him. And a lot of worry and mystery could have been alleviated if the bus had simply been 3 minutes slower.
Yeah, but that isn't how mystery novels work now, is it? It's weird to me that a person would consume mystery media and want that mystery to be revealed in the first 10 minutes of that story. Besides, it's not convenient that the bus showed up. It's literally a bus that comes to stranded wizards. In other words, it's magic, not convenience.
But the Muggles, can't they see us?
Muggles? They don't see nothing, do they?
All that bullshit with Ron, Harry, the flying car, and the Muggles was a bunch of bullshit.
It wasn't. All this is Shunpike glossing over the invisibility charm that is clearly shown on the bus at the beginning of the scene. The car in Chamber of Secrets was seen because the invisibility booster was faulty.
Looking forward to a new term?
Yeah, should be great.
Right, because every other year at Hogwarts has been peachy.
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
Why would I go looking for someone who wants to kill me?
Oh, I don't know. The events of the last 2 movies might lead someone to think that.
Except it didn't happen in either movie. In Philosopher's Stone, Harry wanted to find out what Fluffy was guarding as he suspected Snape wanted it. He did not think Snape was trying to kill him. In Chamber of Secrets, no one was trying to kill Harry. Tom Riddle's spirit was trying to rid the school of mudbloods. Harry is a half-blood, meaning he was safe. The only reason you're saying this is because you have prior knowledge of the later films, which is weird considering you didn't know why Harry had to continue living with the Dursleys, something that was explained in the books and the films by the time you made this video.
Come on, everywhere else is full.
You checked 4 compartments!
No, you only saw them check 4 compartments. The scene started with Harry in the middle of a conversation about blowing up Miss Trunchbull. Clearly there was more to the scene than what we saw.
Who do you think that is?
Professor R.J. Lupin.
Since when do professors ride along with students on the train to Hogwarts?
Jeremy, this is the 3rd movie and only the 2nd one to show the passengers on the train. They are obviously establishing that sometimes professors can use the train to Hogwarts. I mean, it's just a train. Calm down, Karen.
Sirius Black has escaped from Azkaban to come after you.
No kid this age would ever tell important secrets to their friends in this close proximity to a teacher, even if they thought that teacher was asleep.
What? Where are you getting this? When was this established? Who are you speaking for?
Why is Gamora?
Well, it sure is lucky they picked the one compartment where a professor just happened to be sleeping.
Yeah, or else the entire movie wouldn't exist. That's kind of how things work. You know, it sure is lucky that Harry Potter never got hit by a car during his time with the Dursleys. Otherwise, Voldemort would have returned to power. You get it? That's not luck, that's the story. If a potential protagonist dies before the story even happened, there wouldn't be a story to tell about that protagonist, so he must have survived for the story to have been told.
When did the Hogwarts choir learn this song? During their summer break? This is the first night of school.
That's a weird question, especially because these aren't first-year students. I mean, even the protagonists of this film are in their 3rd year, so obviously these students were a part of the choir at least since last year. The fact that this is the first night has nothing to do with anything.
Unlike the Oracle, the new Dumbledore feels no need to explain his altered appearance.
It's almost like this isn't the Matrix or something. Frankly, this is how you do it. If you lose an actor due to death or another circumstance, recast the character and move on. Marvel could learn a thing or two regarding Black Panther. You mean they should recast T'Challa, right? Oh, I meant Letitia, but yeah, T'Challa too.
A word of caution. Dementors are vicious creatures.
This warning came just in time.
That's an interesting position you've got there, Mr. Why Are Professors on the Train? What, did you expect Dumbledore to also be on the Hogwarts Express giving this warning then? Dementors are independent wardens of a magical prison. They don't answer to anyone at this school, and we're doing their job looking for Goku Black.
Taking the form of a giant spectral dog. It's among the darkest omens in our world.
I'd be scared, except Harry faces death every year and lives, so this is really just another day.
Out of Harry's 13 years of living, his first, 11th, and 12th years were the only ones he's faced danger so far. That means 77% of the time, he's fine.
You're supposed to stroke it.
Ah, the things you learn at the age of 13.
Jeremy implies boner.
Anything that flies in the Harry Potter universe is contractually obligated to do some soaring laps over Hogwarts Castle.
Jeremy hates flying over Hogwarts Castle.
Hermione isn't old enough to be hot yet.
Doubling down on the pedo jokes, eh? You might as well say, she has grass on the field, play ball. They both mean the same thing. A 40-year-old dude thinks it's appropriate to speak this way about a 12-year-old. Oh, and for the morons that like to try correcting me on ages and dates, like the silly-ass people that got upset when I referred to Return of the Jedi's effects being a product of the year they were made, this movie began filming when Emma Watson was 12. She was 13 when it finished and 14 when it released. It's a shame that I have to point this out, but I've learned people only hear what they want to hear and not what I actually said. How's that, Alex Durain, you little bitch?
Black can be anywhere.
That's racist.
Yeah, but aren't you white calling a black dude an Uncle Tom? That's racist.
No one knows.
When'd she get here?
If Hermione is using a time travel device so that she can be in two places at once, why would Ron notice anything abnormal?
Because she wasn't there a second ago? I feel like that's self-explanatory, but here's a screenshot anyway.
Ridiculous!
Holy shit, she just turned that cobra into something even scarier. Why is everyone laughing?
Because clowns are only scary to something like 7.8% of the population? You know, pussies.
That's enough for today. If you'd all like to collect your books.
No one else gets a turn because Harry bogarted the boggart.
Hey guys, here's a sin of Prisoner of Azkaban. They're getting on with the plot and not showing me something that has nothing to do with that plot, which, even if they did, I would complain about it.
Your mother, Lily's.
Oh, yes. I knew her.
This dude totally f***ed your mom, Harry.
Yelling at the screen cliche.
Not a single professor inside this castle would help Sirius Black to enter it.
There is no way these two would have this conversation right in front of students who are notorious for faking sleep in order to eavesdrop.
Except that's precisely something Dumbledore would do, considering what he's doing here is reassuring the students that they are safe. Like, that's literally the point.
It sure is fortunate that the Minister of Magic and Professor McGonagall decided to visit this random pub owner so that Harry could hear some extremely crucial information he could use later.
This takes a bit of explaining. The Three Broomsticks is a popular pub in Hogsmeade and a place where adults can go to do a bit of drinking and socializing. McGonagall is here as the chaperone of the students on a trip to Hogsmeade. Fudge is not exactly on the best terms with Dumbledore, so he came here to speak to Minerva about the situation with Sirius Black. Rosmerta is the pub owner, so when the Minister of Magic visits her pub, she offers him a private room to serve them drinks, and here is where they all chat. It all makes sense when you're not trying to boil this down to something simplistic.
Character who really needs glasses loses glasses during crucial action sequence cliche.
But wouldn't it be more ridiculous if his glasses didn't fly off? I mean, he was getting tossed around like a Kardashian at a black frat party.
Oh man. If he would only fallen right side up. Oh well. Maybe next time, Harry.
These are children, Jared the subway guy.
I know. It's him. I understand.
Let's kill him. Come on, let's kill him.
What's with the pronoun game? Why scare the kid when you mean to kill the rat?
Because they know who the f they're talking about. The pronoun game only applies when the listener doesn't know who the speaker is referring to. Don't you know your own running gags?
Severus, please.
Well, there goes the theory that you need your own personal wand to make magic.
It's almost like there was an entire book dedicated to the concept of the Elder Wand 7 years before you even made this video. And you can't even make a Books Don't Matter reference because the first Deathly Hallows film came out 4 years before you made this video. And did you forget you literally argued for Ron to use another wand in the Chamber of Secrets video, you cherry-picking ass?
So what was all that bullshit in the last movie with Ron's broken wand and the school not giving him a replacement?
Oh, so you didn't forget. But I guess you just forgot about Deathly Hallows being the third biggest movie of 2010, and apparently you were the only person on Earth that didn't see it, right? Give me a fucking break.
Also, why is Harry's disarming spell so strong that it blasts Snape across the room, while Snape and Lupin's disarming spell merely disarmed the person?
Why, oh why, is Jeremy pretending he didn't see this exact effect in Chamber of Secrets? During the duel scene between Snape and Lockhart, Snape sent Lockhart flying with the disarming spell, and Jeremy specifically pointed out a continuity error in that scene.
Wand goes flying, but then is magically back in Lockhart's hand after he lands.
And we all know Lockhart doesn't know enough magic to pull that trick off.
Now he's pretending it's never been established to have that effect. Anyway, wizards can vary the power with which Expelliarmus hits the target, which has the effect of simply removing their wand or a concussive force. Considering Harry hates Snape, do I even need to finish this sentence?
So Lupin turned out to be a good guy after all, and so did Sirius Black. So this movie's primary antagonist is Peter Pettigrew?
Yes.
Oh, right, because the werewolf would totally be surprised by a sudden full moon.
Yeah? He would? What the heck kind of sin is this? Do you not know how werewolves work? Remus was caught up in finding out his best friend wasn't a murderer when the moon appeared. This totally makes sense.
Professor?
Hermione tries to reason with the werewolf.
Probably because Moony usually takes Wolfsbane potion that allows him to keep his human mind. That's why Sirius asked him did he take his potion.
When in doubt, I find retracing my steps to be a wise place to begin.
Honestly, can't you just spell out exactly what they should do instead of being such a vague bastard? Is this not a mission in which you actually want them to succeed?
I really can't understand why you want characters to not be themselves. You might as well ask Deadpool to not break the fourth wall. I mean, yeah, he could stop doing that, but that wouldn't be his style. Besides, Dumbledore is speaking to the smartest witch in the school. This is like throwing an alley-oop to 2009 Dwight Howard.
That's Pettigrew.
Harry, you can't.
Dude, where was all this anger when you first found out about this?
Oh, you mean this, when he 360 no-scoped Severus?
Seriously, everyone in the execution party is enamored with the countryside? Not one cursory glance toward the animal you were about to kill?
First of all, they did look at the hippogriff. Fudge explicitly states that he saw Buckbeak prior to him escaping. Second, Dumbledore is distracting them. His plan was to use Hermione's time turner to save Buckbeak from the onset. You seriously underestimate the greatest wizard of all time.
Can a werewolf really not tell the difference between a real wolf and a teenage girl screaming like a wolf?
Interesting question. Can a dog tell a human barking from a real dog? Well, I guess that answers that.
Harry and Hermione resign themselves to werewolf death instead of, I don't know, casting a spell at it or something.
The implication is that magic doesn't affect werewolves much, if at all. This is precisely why Sirius, Severus, and these two all did not think to attack Lupin with magic. Did you not do the homework? This was on page 394.
Expecto Patronum!
Original Harry somehow didn't hear this bullshit.
Probably because he was busy getting his soul sucked. Take it from me. You wouldn't hear anything either.
I saw myself conjuring the Patronus before. I knew I could do it this time because, well, I'd already done it. Does that make sense?
No!
Jeremy just dings the ding here, implying that Hermione was right that this doesn't make sense. The problem is that it does make sense. If you have gone into the past and saw yourself doing something that you previously couldn't do, it literally means you are capable of doing that thing. 20 points from Slytherin for this malfeasance.
The ones that love us never really leave us. And you can always find them in here.
And also in that mirror from the first movie, which you seem to have forgotten about entirely.
Oof, swing and a miss. The point wasn't that Harry wanted to physically see his parents. He can already do that with the pictures he has, Jeremy. Especially because the Mirror of Darius had been moved to the Room of Requirement, a place Harry wouldn't discover for another 2 years.
He's free. We did it.
Did what?
Good job saving the day. Don't ever use that time machine again, though. No matter how dire things get in future sequels.
Jeremy has a point here, that they never revisit the Time Turner or use an incredibly useful item in the Second Wizarding War. However, I'm far more miffed that CinemaSins is blatantly admitting that they have seen the future sequels. I mean, we already knew they have, which is why I called them out on it in the Wand Sin, but it's kind of annoying hearing them admit it after playing dumb like they haven't.
Let's talk about the movie's time travel. They go back in time, but practically everything we see them do is stuff that happened the first time through. Harry getting hit with a rock, distracting the werewolf, etc. This is a paradox of Terminator proportions unless there's an original unique experience where the time turner isn't being used. Harry and crew would go to Hagrid's cabin and likely get caught by Dumbledore. Then none of the things we see happen would actually happen. They don't save Buckbeak, Ron doesn't lose his rat, Sirius doesn't drag Ron into the tree and into the shack, Harry doesn't find out Scabbers is Peter Pettigrew, Lupin turns into a werewolf somewhere else, and Sirius doesn't get nailed by the Dementors. And scene. The problem with this, though, besides the fact that we in the audience didn't get to see this original experience, is that at this point, only Buckbeak has been harmed, and you weren't using a time travel device just to go back and save that asshole. They don't have any other motivation to begin going back and trying to fix stuff. Thus, a paradox.
Your premise is off, and that's what's causing you problems. You start with the presumption that there is an original timeline different than this one. The time travel presented in this movie is Nabokov's self-consistency principle, which states that the timeline remains fixed no matter what the time travelers do because it's impossible to create a paradox. In other words, this is the only timeline and things that happen from Hermione and Harry's perspective happen because it already happened. This is a closed or causal loop, which does not require another timeline. However, what I find most interesting about this sin is that when someone tried to correct you in your comment section, you're defending yourself. I mean, look at you go. Curious how your fanboys love to state these videos are all jokes and not meant to be taken seriously, but if that were true, there would be no need for you to explain yourself to this audience member. I mean, if it were all a joke, why would you be defending the joke? It's a joke. See, the truth is that CinemaSins tells jokes in criticism videos, which directly validates the work that I'm doing. So suck it, idiot number 245,679 that's in my comments section typing, "It's not supposed to be taken seriously." It clearly is.
Enough talk, Remus. Come on, let's kill him. Wait, I did my waiting.
Very well. Kill him.